guys. Today I'm going to talk about one completed piece of my dissertation work. I'm in the conservation biology program here at UCF, but my specialty is road ecology. So I study how wildlife and roads interact. And one thing that road ecologists spend a lot of time doing is figuring out creative ways to prevent animals from becoming roadkill. And so you guys are probably all familiar with the Florida panther pictured here. It's our state mammal, and it's also very endangered. There are fewer than 300 individuals left in the wild. And one of the major pressures on this population is actually roadkill. So because of this, the National Park Service contacted my advisor and myself and some of our collaborators to try and test out a new technology to reduce wildlife vehicle collisions. And that technology is called a roadside animal detection system, or RADS for short. And if you look at that green diagram, you can see kind of how it works. There are transmitters and receivers that create an infrared beam that runs parallel to the road. And when a large animal goes in between the transmitter and receiver and breaks that beam, then a signal is sent to warning signs spaced along the road. There's lights that start to flash, and so hopefully that's going to warn drivers if there's an animal near the road, you should be more careful and prevent a crash. So we are actually monitoring a system that has been installed in Big Cypress National Preserve down in South Florida near the Everglades. But there were some questions about this technology that we couldn't answer just by doing a field study. For example, we didn't have any information about the demographics of the drivers we were studying on the road. You can't look into a car and see what they look like. So how do things like age affect the effectiveness of the RADs? We also weren't able to get crash data from our field study, because even though wildlife vehicle collisions happen more than we'd like in the wild, the likelihood of them happening within our study site at a rate high enough for us to actually analyze is really small. So what we did is we actually came back to UCF and partnered with the Institute for Simulation and Training to do a driving simulator study, where we had drivers or participants driving down a simulated road, and we would send out an animal in front of them and see how they react to that animal, whether they crashed or not. And of course, some of them had the warning system, the RADs, and some of them did not. And what we found was that overall, RADs reduced driver speed by about 5 miles per hour. And you're probably thinking that sounds really small, but actually that small reduction in speed can mean the difference between a crash and no crash. So it's actually a significant result. We also found that having the RADs caused drivers to start braking about 8 meters earlier in response to the animal than drivers with no warning, which makes us think that drivers are being more alert and more being able to prep their reactions better if they have that warning ahead of time. And also the really cool result that we found was that if you have this warning system in place, you're 14 times less likely to crash than if you don't have a warning. And then finally, we found, interestingly, that younger drivers, specifically those below the age of 24, were 5 times more likely to crash than older drivers. So overall, we found that this roadside animal detection system could be a really good way to prevent collisions. And if you have questions, I'd love to see you at my poster later. So thank you.